Hello everyone, good Moed, good Erev Yom Tov. I hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to share a few words, hopefully brief, leading into the second days of Pesach, Shvi Pesach, and also Yizkor that we say on the last day of Pesach. The last days of Pesach commemorate, celebrate, allow us to relive the immense miracle of Kriyas Yamsuf, the splitting of the sea. It's always confusing to me after the Jews had already experienced so much with the Makos, the plagues, miracles upon miracles that broke the laws of nature. And then all the miracles that came along with the actual redemption, the exodus from Mitzrayim. And yet it seems they still didn't get it fully. They needed this ultimate climax of miracles, Kriyas Yamsuf, the ultimate miracle. The miracle that's used as an example of all other miracles and difficult things. Parnasa, Shiduchim, livelihood, finding our marriage partner, our kosher, Kriyas Yamsuf, are difficult like the splitting of the sea. This is the ultimate task for God, so to speak, the ultimate miracle. And it brings to mind what's going on in the world today. Because we have experienced so much lately. And even if you go back a few decades, there's so much that has happened in the world that boggles the mind, that, so to speak, nobody saw coming. When I was growing up, I still remember the fall of the Iron Curtain, the fall of communism. No one predicted such a thing. It changed millions and millions of people. It changed the world. 9/11 changed our existence, changed our sense of self, our sense of security, changed the way we see ourselves as people and as a country. And again, nobody could have predicted it. Nobody saw it coming. More recently, what comes to mind is President Trump's election, which, whether you like him or not, was unbelievable. Even right before, the biggest experts, the biggest political pundits in the world said it can never happen. He can't win. It's impossible. And then afterwards, they had to humbly admit that they were wrong. And it seems like this is a pattern. Hashem is showing us time and time again that things that nobody could have seen coming happen anyway. A few weeks ago, or a few months ago, we heard about the coronavirus, and we were told, don't worry so much about it. It will move on through. Go about your business. We'll be fine. And then, just a few short weeks ago, Hashem changed the world. And it severely impacted us in so many ways that's still unfolding. And there's one thing that I can't seem to I can't seem to understand about myself, but other people, but myself included. We still don't get it. We still missing it. I go back and I check the news every day, a few times a day, looking at what happened, but also looking at the predictions, what the experts are saying, what the doctors, the infectious disease experts, the politicians are saying about next week, next month, 2 months from now. And I'm paying attention to it, and I'm glued to it. And I just don't understand what I'm doing. If there's one thing that this has taught us, it's that they have no idea what they're talking about. Nobody knows. It's all Hashem, the same Hashem that brought this to us. Could, God forbid, keep this going for longer and more severe? God forbid. But could also change this in an instant. Bring about a salvation in an instant. And rescue us from what's going on. And it's a waste of time and effort, emotional effort, spiritual energy to pay so much attention to what people are saying. And we go back to the Mitzrayim story as well. Nobody could have seen it coming. All the statistics were against it. Nobody ever escaped Mitzrayim. 538.com predicted the chances of the Jews leaving Egypt were 0.001%. It cannot happen. And I don't know if there's a stronger message for us today than this, screaming to us, Hashem saying, I am in control. I run the world. Like the story of Mitzrayim still exists today. That's the main point. By Yetzias Mitzrayim, by Kriyas Yamsuf, Hashem Yilachem Lachem, Hashem will fight for you. Hashem is running the show. That's the point that we struggle with even now. I struggle with even now. Getting that message, driving that point home for myself. Everything is in the hands of Hashem. And then Kriyas Yamsuf comes along and gives us this clarity. I want to share with you a new clear definition, an incredible definition of Kriyas Yamsuf and the subsequent Shira al Hayam, the singing of the Jewish people by the Yamsuf, the Oz Yashir. The Jews celebrated the salvation of the splitting of the sea by singing to Hashem, an unprecedented, miraculous, prophetic song, so beautiful that we say every morning in davening the Oz Yashir. Singing to Hashem as one in unison. What were they celebrating? What were they rejoicing about mainly? So if you ask this question to 99 out of 100 Jewish people, knowledgeable Jewish people, they would tell you they were celebrating the salvation. They were saved from the Egyptians. They had survived against all odds. And that may be true. I'm sure it's true. But I want to share with you something I saw from Rabbi Victor Miller's Atzal and his Sefer on Shemos, and he says otherwise. He says, look at the words carefully. Ashira Lashem, the Jewish people are saying, I will sing to Hashem, ki, because. Ashira Lashem, ki ga'ah, ga'ah. And he gets into the grammar, but I'll spare you the grammar. But he says, Hashem, the definition of those words is, I will sing to Hashem because Hashem has become great. Hashem has become exceedingly great. And he asks the question, Hashem has become great? What does that mean? Hashem is always great. Hashem doesn't become anything. And it must mean, he says so beautifully, that Hashem has become exceedingly great in my eyes. Now I know Hashem's greatness because I saw the ultimate miracle of Kriyas Yamsuf, and now I get it. I finally get it. And it comes out the Jews were not singing about the salvation as much as they were singing about their own clarity in Hashem, their own achievement, their own true knowledge, their own newfound understanding they never had before. Now I understand. I want to sing to this Hashem that has become exceedingly great in my eyes. I now know Hashem. And that is the ultimate joy, that is the ultimate reason to sing, that is the ultimate achievement, that is the ultimate simcha, joy that they celebrated then, and the joy that we have this coming Yontif. The clarity. Let us tap into this clarity. Let us tap into this achievement to understand who ran the world then and who's running the world today. We have the power over this Yontif to experience Kriyas Yamsuf and to really get it. We are suffering very much as a people. We have taken, unfortunately, blow after blow. We have lost so many great people, people we know. We're all suffering from our situation in many, many ways. We also have to remember the turning point by Kriyas Yam Suf. Our reaction at Kriyas Yam Suf, we have to remind ourselves what the Jewish people did. It says in the Chumash that they were, when we were faced with obliteration by the Yam Suf, the Jews, Vayitzaku b'nei Yisrael el Hashem, the Jewish people cried out in prayer to God. They remembered God. And Rashi says, Tafsu umnus avosam. They grabbed what their forefathers always did when they were faced with difficulty. That's what they did. We have to daven so hard nowadays. I know davening at home has lost a little bit of its shine, a little bit of its glamour. Let's strengthen ourselves over the course of this Yontiv in our own homes, to daven our hearts out for Am Yisrael, for the entire world. Vayitzaku b'nei Yisrael el Hashem, they emulated the way Jews always dealt with their problems. Even if they weren't on such a high level, it was in their bloodstream, it was in their DNA. When we have trouble, we call out. Every Jew today, whether they're used to davening like this or whether they're not, they could tap into this power of Vayitzaku b'nei Yisrael el Hashem. We say Yizkar during the second day of Yom Tov, during the last day of Pesach. We are going to say Yizkar not as a tzibur, and unfortunately not as a congregation this year, but every individual in their own home who has someone to say Yizkar for. I'll tell you what this situation has done a little bit for myself. It's a little bit of a taste of Mesiras Nefesh, of the dedication and sacrifices. When we think back to our ancestors, when we think back to so much of what we have gone through as a nation for thousands of years of exile. We've had it so good recently, relatively. This struggle we've had is a taste, just a small taste, of actually having to have some Mesiras Nefesh, to sacrifice a little bit, to feel the insecurity, to feel the lack of safety and stability that many of our ancestors suffered through, mainly because they were Jewish. And through their emunah, through their faith, they got through. Maybe now we could tap into that on some level. This is nothing compared to some of their hardships, but it's a taste. It's a taste, perhaps. And maybe now we can appreciate them a little more. Let us all daven this Yontiv. Let us all emulate our ancestors and daven this Yontiv with sincerity and concentration. That in the merit and the schus of all our bubbies and zaydis that have allowed us to be here to get to this point, in their merit, we should see Rachmanos, we should see mercy from heaven. In their merit, we should see Yeshuos and Nechamos, we should see salvation and consolation. In the merit of their Mesiras Nefesh, their incredible sacrifices, in the merit of all their tfilos, all their davening, we should use this Yontif of clarity, in seeing Hashem's hand in the world of Kriyas Yam Suf. And we should use this immense benefit that brings us to see Hashem's hand in this world. Let us all celebrate Yontif together in our hearts. And we should all hear Besuras Tovos, good news, very soon. Have a good Yontif.